the hotel room that was cleaned before police arrived. There's a room on the 23rd floor of a casino hotel on the Las Vegas Strip where something happened that was never reported, where blood was found and then erased, where a guest disappeared from every system like they never existed, and the only person who remembers is a housekeeper who can't sleep anymore. This is a story about what happens when a hotel protects itself more than it protects the truth, about how evidence can vanish in hours, about how cameras can see everything and record nothing, about how in a city built on secrets, some secrets are protected by billion-dollar machines that never stop running. This happened in Las Vegas, in a building where 10,000 people sleep every night, where hundreds of employees move through hallways the guests never see, where the back of the house is a different world than the front, where things can be cleaned up and forgotten before the sun rises. Her name was Maria Campos. She was 34 years old. She'd been working as a housekeeper at this hotel for 6 years. She was good at her job, quiet, reliable, the kind of employee management liked because she didn't complain and she didn't ask questions. Until the night she found room 2317. It was a Tuesday in November 2021. Late night shift. Maria had been assigned to the graveyard housekeeping crew, which meant she worked from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Most guests don't need housekeeping at 3 in the morning, but there's always work. Restocking hallway ice machines, cleaning employee break rooms, handling the occasional spill or special request, and sometimes checking rooms that are flagged in the system. Room 2317 was flagged at 2:47 a.m. The flag came from the front desk. The notation in the system said, "Guest complaint, noise disturbance, welfare check requested." This happens. Guests get drunk, get into fights with their partners, make too much noise. Security does a welfare check, knocks on the door, makes sure nobody's hurt. Usually it's nothing. Usually people just quiet down. But this flag was different. The notation also said, "No response, DND sign present, check-in morning." DND means do not disturb. That little sign you hang on your door handle when you don't want to be bothered. Hotels respect those signs. But when there's a welfare check request and no response, housekeeping is supposed to verify the room is okay. Maria's supervisor, a woman named Gloria, told her to check the room. Use the master key card, knock first, announce herself. If the guest is there and fine, apologize and leave. If the room is empty or something seems wrong, report back. Standard procedure. Maria had done this dozens of times. She took the service elevator to the 23rd floor. The service elevator is different from the guest elevators. It's plain, no mirrors, no carpet, just metal walls and a control panel that requires an employee keycard. It opens into the back hallways where guests aren't supposed to go, the hallways where housekeeping carts are parked and dirty linens are stored and the real work of running a hotel happens. Maria walked from the service area to the guest corridor. The hallway was quiet, heavy carpet that absorbed sound. Dim lighting. Most of the doors had DND signs hanging. Most of the rooms were occupied by people sleeping off whatever they'd done earlier that night. Room 2317 was at the far end of the hall. Corner room. Slightly larger than standard, more expensive, the DND sign was on the handle. Maria knocked. 3 firm knocks. She waited. She knocked again. She announced herself. "Housekeeping, just checking on the room. Hello?" No response. No sound from inside. Nothing. She used her master keycard. The lock clicked. The light turned green. She pushed the door open slowly. The smell hit her immediately. Metallic. Thick. Unmistakable. Blood. Maria had smelled blood before. She'd cleaned rooms where guests had nosebleeds, where someone cut themselves shaving, where a woman had her period and bled through the sheets. She knew what blood smelled like. This was different. This was a lot of blood. She pushed the door open wider. The lights in the room were off. The curtains were closed, but there was enough light from the hallway and the glowing city outside to see. The bed was a mess, sheets pulled half off, comforter on the floor, pillows scattered, the kind of mess that suggested struggle or panic or something violent. Maria stepped inside. Her hand found the light switch. The overhead lights came on. The bed was worse than she'd thought. The white sheets had dark stains. Not huge pools of blood, But stains, multiple stains, like someone had been bleeding and moving around, or like someone had tried to clean up but missed spots. The bathroom door was open. She could hear water running, not the sink or the shower, the sound of water dripping, steady, rhythmic. Maria walked to the bathroom. The floor was wet, soaking wet, like someone had taken a shower and let the water run all over the floor, or like someone had tried to wash something and made a mess. The towels were gone, all of them. The towel bar was empty. The towel rack by the sink was empty. Even the bath mat was missing, just wet tile and the sound of dripping water. The dripping was coming from the bathtub. The faucet wasn't completely off. Water dripped steadily into the tub, and the tub had a pink tint to the water sitting in it. Not red, not obviously bloody, but pink, like diluted blood mixing with water. Maria felt her stomach turn. She backed out of the bathroom. She looked around the room again, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The room looked like someone had tried to clean up. The trash can was empty. The desk was clear. There were no personal belongings visible, no suitcase, no clothes, no toiletries, nothing that indicated someone was staying there. But the bed, the bathroom, the smell, something had happened here. She pulled out her phone. Her hand was shaking. She took 3 pictures: the bed, the bathroom floor, the tub with the pink water. Then she left the room, pulling the door shut behind her. She called Gloria on her work radio, kept her voice steady, said she needed Gloria to come to 2317 right away. Said there was a situation. Gloria arrived within 5 minutes. She was a large woman in her 50s who'd worked at the hotel for 15 years. She'd seen everything. Nothing rattled her. Maria showed her the room. Gloria stood in the doorway, looked at the bed, walked to the bathroom, looked at the tub, came back out. "Did you touch anything?" Gloria asked. "No, just turned on the light and looked." "Where's the guest?" "I don't know. There's no luggage, no belongings. But look at the bed, look at the bathroom, something happened." Gloria pulled out her own phone. She called someone, not on the radio, on her personal cell. She spoke quietly. Maria couldn't hear what she was saying. Gloria hung up. She looked at Maria. "Stay here. Don't let anyone in. I'm getting security." She left. Maria stood in the hallway outside 2317. Her heart was pounding. She kept smelling that metallic smell. Kept seeing those pink-tinted water in the tub. She waited for maybe 10 minutes. It felt longer. The hallway stayed quiet. No guests emerged from other rooms. Nobody walked past. Then Gloria came back. But she wasn't alone. She had 2 security officers with her and a man in a suit that Maria didn't recognize. He had a manager's badge, but Maria had never seen him before. The man in the suit looked at Maria. "You're the one who found the room?" "Yes." "What did you see?" Maria described it. The bed, the stains, the wet bathroom, the missing towels, the pink water in the tub, the smell. The man nodded. He looked at one of the security officers. "Call Metro. Possible incident. We need police to check the room." Then he looked at Maria. "You did the right thing reporting this. We're going to handle it from here. You can go back to your other duties." "Shouldn't I stay? In case the police need to talk to me?" "We'll call you if they need you. For now, go back to work. And please don't discuss this with other employees. We don't want to start rumors." It wasn't a request. It was an instruction. Maria nodded. She walked back toward the service elevator with Gloria. Gloria didn't say anything during the walk. When they reached the elevator, Maria asked, "Have you ever seen anything like that before?" Gloria looked at her. Her expression was neutral, carefully neutral. "I've seen a lot of things. The important thing is we reported it. Now it's in the hands of security and police. That's all we can do. But the bed, the bathroom, someone was hurt, someone was bleeding. Maybe. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's not what it looks like. That's why we have police, to figure it out. Your job is to clean rooms and report problems. You did that. Now let it go." There was something in Gloria's tone that made Maria stop asking questions. Something that suggested this conversation was over and shouldn't be reopened. Maria went back to work. She restocked ice machines on the 20th floor. She cleaned an employee break room. She tried not to think about room 2317, but she couldn't stop smelling that smell. Couldn't stop seeing that pink water. Couldn't stop wondering who had been in that room and where they were now. Her shift ended at 7 a.m. She clocked out, changed out of her uniform. As she was leaving through the employee exit, she saw something that made her pause. A large commercial laundry cart was being loaded into a truck in the loading dock area. The kind of cart that holds dirty linens from multiple rooms. The cart was being handled by two men Maria didn't recognize. Not the regular laundry crew. These men were different. They were wearing plain clothes, moving quickly, loading the cart into an unmarked white van. One of the men saw Maria watching. He stared at her until she looked away and kept walking. She went home, tried to sleep, couldn't. The smell was still in her nose. The image of that bed was still in her mind. She thought about calling the police herself, but the hotel had already called them. They'd said they were calling them, so the police would investigate. They'd figure out what happened. She tried to convince herself of that, tried to believe it would be handled properly. But something felt wrong. Something about the way Gloria had acted. The way that man in the suit had dismissed her so quickly. The way those men were loading that laundry cart at 7 in the morning like they were in a hurry. Maria didn't sleep well. She managed maybe 3 hours before she had to get up and take her daughter to school. She went through the motions of her day, made breakfast, did laundry, tried to be normal, but her mind kept going back to that room. That night she worked again. Same shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. She got to the hotel at 10:45, changed into her uniform, checked the assignment board to see which floors she'd be working. Before she could leave the break room, Gloria pulled her aside. "I need to talk to you about last night," Gloria said. "Okay, did the police find out what happened? Is the guest okay?" Gloria's expression was strange, controlled, like she was choosing her words very carefully. "There was no incident," Gloria said. "The room was checked thoroughly. There was nothing wrong." Maria stared at her. "What do you mean, nothing wrong? I saw the bed. I saw the bathroom. There was blood." "There was no blood. The room was inspected by security and by police. They found nothing suspicious. The guest checked out normally. Everything was fine." "That's impossible. I took pictures." "Let me see them." Maria pulled out her phone, opened her photo gallery, scrolled to where the pictures should be. They were gone. The 3 pictures she'd taken, the bed, the bathroom, the tub, all gone. Not deleted, not in the recently deleted folder, just gone. Like they'd never been taken. "I don't understand," Maria said. "I took pictures." "They were here. Maybe you thought you took pictures. Maybe in the stress of the moment you thought you did, but didn't. It happens." "No, I took them. I remember taking them." Gloria's voice got quieter, firmer. "Maria, listen to me. There was no incident. The room was fine. The guest checked out. This is over. You need to let it go." "But You saw a messy room. That's all. Guests make messes. That's why we have housekeepers. Sometimes things look worse than they are. You reported it. We checked it. It was nothing. Now it's done." Maria felt like she was going crazy, like reality was shifting underneath her. She knew what she'd seen, she knew what she'd smelled, but Gloria was telling her none of it was real. "I want to talk to the police who came," Maria said. "I want to know what they found." "There's nothing to find. And talking to the police about a non-incident would be wasting their time. And ours. You have work to do. I need you to focus on that work. Can you do that?" It wasn't a question. It was a warning, barely disguised. Maria nodded slowly. "Okay. Good, now go. You're assigned to floors 15 through 19 tonight." Maria left the break room. Her hands were shaking. Something was very wrong. She didn't know what. But the way Gloria was acting, the missing photos, the insistence that nothing had happened, someone was lying, someone was covering something up. She worked her shift in a daze, cleaned rooms, restocked supplies, tried to process what was happening. Around 3 a.m., she was in the service hallway on the 18th floor when she saw one of the night auditors, a young guy named David who worked the front desk during overnight hours. They'd talked a few times, friendly, casual. She stopped him. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Last night, room 2317, do you remember if police came to the hotel?" David thought for a moment. 2317. No, I don't think so. Why? There was supposed to be a welfare check, a possible incident. I didn't see any police last night, and I was at the front desk all night. I would have known if Metro came through. Are you sure? Yeah. Positive. We log all police visits. There was nothing logged last night. Maria felt cold. Thanks. She walked away, her mind racing. If police didn't come, then who were those security officers calling? What happened to the room? Why was Gloria lying? She wanted to check the room herself. Room 2317, see if it was still there, see what it looked like now, but she wasn't assigned to the 23rd floor. She didn't have a reason to be up there, and she had the feeling that if she went up there without a reason, someone would notice. So she didn't. She finished her shift, clocked out, went home. She couldn't sleep again. This time it wasn't just the images in her head, it was the wrongness of everything, the way her photos had disappeared, the way Gloria was acting, the way David said no police had come, something terrible had happened in that room, and the hotel was pretending it hadn't, was erasing it, making it disappear. But why? What could be so bad that they'd cover it up? What could be worse than reporting a crime and letting police investigate, unless the hotel was protecting someone, or protecting itself, or protecting something bigger than Maria understood? She tried to research online, typed in the hotel's name and cover-up, and disappearance, and incident. Found nothing specific, found some reviews complaining about service, found some articles about the hotel's grand opening years ago. Nothing about crimes being hidden, but she found something else. A Reddit thread from 2 years earlier, someone claiming to have worked at a different hotel on the Strip, claiming they'd found evidence of violence in a room and been told to keep quiet about it, claiming the hotel had cleaned the room and erased all records before police could investigate. The thread was locked. The user's account was deleted. But Maria read through the comments, other people saying similar things, other hotel workers claiming they'd seen things, rooms cleaned too quickly, incidents that disappeared, pressure from management to stay silent. It wasn't proof, it was just internet rumors. But it made Maria feel less crazy, made her feel like maybe this was a pattern. Maybe this happened more often than anyone knew. She went back to work the next night, and the night after that, and the night after that. Every night she expected someone to pull her aside, to threaten her, to fire her. But nothing happened. Gloria acted normal, like their conversation had never happened, like room 2317 had never existed. Maria tried to move on, tried to convince herself that maybe she'd been wrong. Maybe it had been a messy room and nothing more. Maybe the smell had been something else. Maybe the pink water had been soap or cleaning chemicals. But she didn't believe that, couldn't believe it. Then on Friday night, 5 days after she'd found the room, something happened. Maria was taking her break in the employee break room. It was around 2 a.m. She was sitting alone, drinking coffee, scrolling through her phone. Another housekeeper came in, an older woman named Carmen who'd worked at the hotel even longer than Gloria. Carmen was in her 60s. Close to retirement, she kept to herself mostly. Carmen poured herself coffee, sat down across from Maria, didn't say anything for a minute. Then she spoke quietly. "I heard you found a bad room." Maria looked up. "What?" 2317. "I heard you found it." Maria's heart started pounding. "How did you know about that?" "Word gets around, even when management doesn't want it to." "Do you know what happened? Do you know who was in that room?" Carmen shook her head. "No, and I don't want to know, and neither do you. Trust me. Someone was hurt. I saw blood. The hotel is covering it up." "Yes, they are, and you need to let them." "How can you say that? If someone was hurt, then that someone is already gone, already dealt with. There's nothing you can do about it now except lose your job. Or worse." "Worse?" Carmen looked at her, really looked at her. Her eyes were tired, scared. "This hotel moves $20 billion a year through its casino. It employs 4,000 people. It's owned by a corporation worth more than most countries. You think they care about one guest? One incident? One housekeeper who asks too many questions? But the police won't do anything, can't do anything, not without evidence. And there is no evidence anymore. Whatever was in that room is gone, cleaned, destroyed, vanished. That's what these places do. That's how they protect themselves. Have you seen this happen before? Carmen didn't answer. She stood up, poured her coffee down the sink. I've worked here 18 years. I've learned when to see things and when not to see things. You should learn that too, before something happens that you can't ignore. She left the break room. Maria sat there, her coffee getting cold, her hands shaking. She wanted to quit, wanted to walk out right then, never come back. But she needed this job. She had a daughter, she had rent, she had bills. She couldn't just quit. But she also couldn't stop thinking about that room, about what had happened there, about who had been there and where they were now. She made a decision, maybe a stupid decision, but she had to know. She waited until her shift was almost over, 6:30 a.m. Most guests were still asleep. The hallways were quiet. She took the service elevator to the 23rd floor. She walked to room 2317. Her heart was pounding. Her keycard was in her hand. She told herself she was just checking the room, making sure it was ready for the next guest. Normal housekeeping duties. She knocked, no answer. She used her keycard. The lock clicked green. She opened the door. The room was perfect, absolutely perfect. The bed was made with hospital corners, fresh white sheets, pillows fluffed and arranged. Not a wrinkle, not a stain. The bathroom was spotless, floor dry, new towels perfectly folded. The tub was clean and white, no pink tint, no water, no smell. The room smelled like industrial cleaning chemicals. Strong, overpowering, like someone had used an entire bottle of bleach. Maria walked around the room slowly, looked for any sign of what she'd seen 5 days ago. Any remaining stain, any evidence, nothing. The room was immaculate, more than immaculate. It looked like it had never been used, like it was brand new. She checked the trash, empty. She checked under the bed, nothing. She checked the bathroom closet where spare linens were kept, fully stocked with towels that still had creases from being folded fresh. The room had been completely erased. Every trace of whatever happened here was gone. She heard a sound in the hallway. Voices. She quickly left the room, closing the door behind her. 2 security officers were walking toward her. One of them she recognized from the night she'd found the room. He looked at her. His expression was neutral, but his eyes were cold. "What are you doing up here?" he asked, checking rooms, making sure they're ready. "This floor isn't your assignment." "I had some extra time, was just helping out." The security officer stepped closer. "Go back to your assigned floors, now." It wasn't a suggestion. Maria nodded and walked toward the service elevator. She could feel them watching her until she turned the corner. Her hands were shaking as she rode the elevator down. She'd crossed a line. She knew it. They knew it. She clocked out. Changed. Left through the employee exit. As she was walking to her car in the employee parking structure, she had the distinct feeling she was being watched. She looked around. Didn't see anyone. But the feeling didn't go away. She got in her car and drove home. Kept checking her rearview mirror. Nobody was following her, but she couldn't shake the paranoia. When she got home, she checked her phone, opened her photo gallery again. Even though she knew the pictures were gone, she checked. Still gone. Still nothing where they should have been. She thought about the room, how perfect it had looked, how thoroughly it had been cleaned, how expensive that kind of cleaning would be, how quickly it had been done. This wasn't normal housekeeping. This was professional. This was the kind of cleaning you do when you absolutely cannot have any evidence left behind. The kind of cleaning that costs money. The kind of cleaning that requires authorization from very high up. Someone with power had ordered that room cleaned, had ordered all evidence destroyed, had ordered the incident erased, and Maria was the only person who remembered. The only person who knew something had happened. She tried to sleep but couldn't. Her mind kept working, kept trying to piece together what had happened. A guest in room 2317. Something violent happens. Blood. A lot of blood. The guest disappears or dies or is removed. The hotel finds out, but instead of calling police, they call cleaners. They scrub the room. They destroy the evidence. They erase the guest from their systems. Why? To avoid bad publicity, to avoid lawsuits, to protect someone important. Or because this has happened before, and they have a system in place to handle it. Maria didn't work that weekend. She had 2 days off. She spent them researching, looking for any information about disappearances at Vegas hotels, about crimes that were covered up, about people who checked in and never checked out. She found more Reddit threads, more anonymous posts from people claiming to work at strip hotels, more stories about rooms that were cleaned before police arrived, about guests who vanished from computer systems, about employees who asked questions and lost their jobs. But nothing concrete, nothing verifiable, just rumors and speculation and paranoia. She also found news articles about actual crimes at Vegas hotels, murders that had been reported, suicides, overdoses, all normal police investigations, all handled properly. So why was room 2317 different? What made this case something that needed to be erased instead of reported? Monday night she went back to work. She was nervous, expected to be called into an office, expected to be fired or threatened or something. But nothing happened. She clocked in, got her assignment, started working. Everything seemed normal. Gloria treated her normally. The other housekeepers acted like always. It was like nothing had changed, except Maria couldn't stop looking over her shoulder, couldn't stop feeling like she was being watched. Around midnight, she was restocking a housekeeping cart on the 16th floor when a woman approached her. The woman was wearing regular clothes, jeans and a jacket, not a hotel uniform. "Excuse me," the woman said, "are you Maria Campos?" Maria's stomach dropped. "Who are you?" "My name is Jennifer Ross. I'm a private investigator. I was hoping I could ask you a few questions." "About what?" "About an incident that may have occurred here about a week ago. Room 2317. Maria's mind raced. How did this woman know about that? Who had told her? "I don't know what you're talking about," Maria said. "I think you do. I think you found something in that room, something the hotel doesn't want anyone to know about. I need to get back to work. I'm investigating a missing person, a man who was staying at this hotel. He hasn't been heard from in over a week. His family hired me to find him. The last charge on his credit card was to this hotel, but when I asked the front desk, they said they have no record of him ever checking in." Maria felt sick. "What was his name?" "I can't tell you that, but I can tell you he was in his 40s, businessman from California. Came to Vegas for a conference, called his wife from the airport, texted her when he checked into the hotel, then nothing. No calls, no texts, no credit card activity. Nothing. And you think he was in room 2317? I don't know, but I know something happened on that floor. I know the hotel has been acting strange, and I know you reported something that night. I have a source inside the hotel who told me." "Who?" "I can't say, but they wanted you to know you're not crazy. What you saw was real." Maria looked around, made sure nobody was listening. "I can't talk about this here. I'll lose my job. Then meet me later, after your shift. I'll be in the Starbucks across the street. We can talk there. I don't know anything. The hotel says nothing happened. The hotel is lying, and I think you know that. Please, this man has a family, a wife, kids. They deserve to know what happened to him." Jennifer handed Maria a business card. "If you change your mind." She walked away, disappeared into the guest elevator. Maria stood there holding the business card, her hands shaking. This was real. This wasn't just her imagination. A man was missing, and that man might have been in room 2317. She put the card in her pocket, tried to focus on work, but her mind was spinning. If that man was in that room, if he was hurt or killed there, if the hotel cleaned up the evidence, then that man's family would never know what happened, would spend the rest of their lives wondering, hoping, never getting closure. Maria knew that pain. Her own father had disappeared when she was young, just left one day and never came back. Never called, never explained. That absence had haunted her entire life. She couldn't do that to another family, couldn't stay silent if she could help. But she also couldn't risk her job, couldn't risk supporting her daughter. She was torn, paralyzed by fear and guilt. Her shift ended at 7 a.m. She clocked out, changed, walked out to the employee parking structure. Jennifer Ross was waiting by Maria's car. "I'm sorry to ambush you," Jennifer said, "but I need your help, please." Maria looked at her. This woman was professional, calm, but there was desperation in her eyes, real desperation. "If I talk to you, I lose my job," Maria said. "I understand, but if you don't talk to me, a family never gets answers. Is your job worth that?" Maria wanted to say yes, wanted to say her job was worth it. Her daughter's food and rent and future were worth it. But she thought about that room, that smell, that pink water, someone's blood washing down a drain. "I'll tell you what I saw," Maria said, "but I can't be involved beyond that. I can't testify. I can't go on record. I just tell you, and then I'm done." "That's fair." They got into Maria's car. Maria told her everything: the welfare check, the smell, the bed, the bathroom, the pink water, the missing towels, the photos that disappeared, Gloria's warning, the room being cleaned, the perfection of it when she checked it days later. Jennifer took notes, asked clarifying questions. When Maria finished, Jennifer sat back. "This confirms what I suspected," Jennifer said. "The man I'm looking for checked in on a Tuesday night, November 9th. He called his wife at 8 p.m. from his room, said he was going to get dinner and then sleep. She never heard from him again. His phone went dead around midnight. The hotel claims they have no record of him. But I pulled his credit card statement. The charge is there, 2 nights prepaid at this hotel, room 2317. Maria felt her blood turn cold. "That's the room." "I know. I tried to get security footage from the hotel. They refused, said they don't release footage without a warrant. I tried to get the police to investigate. They said without evidence of a crime, there's nothing they can do. The hotel says he never checked in. His credit card company says he did, but that's all I have. I need more. What do you want me to do? I need you to help me get into that room, or get access to the security footage, or find someone who knows what happened. I can't. They're already suspicious of me. If I do anything else, they'll fire me. Or worse." "Worse? I don't know. But the way people act around here, the way they warned me to stay quiet, it feels like more than just protecting the hotel's reputation." Jennifer looked at her seriously. "Do you think this hotel has done this before? Covered up crimes?" "I don't know, but another housekeeper implied it, and I found stuff online, people claiming the same thing happened to them at other hotels. It's not just this hotel, it's an industry problem. Vegas hotels have enormous power. They employ tens of thousands of people. They're worth billions. They have connections with politicians, police, media. When something bad happens, they can make it disappear. I've seen it before. So what can you do? Not much without evidence, without a body, without footage, without someone willing to testify. Right now, all I have is a missing person and a hotel that claims he was never there." "What about his wife? Can't she force the police to investigate?" "She's trying. But without evidence of foul play, the police treat it as a voluntary disappearance. An adult has the right to disappear if they want. They're doing minimal investigation. They called his cell phone company, checked his bank accounts, sent a missing person report to surrounding jurisdictions. But they're not treating it as a crime. Even though his phone went dead in this hotel, even though he never left. The hotel says he checked out normally the next morning. They have a record of his checkout. His keycard was deactivated. The room was cleaned and rented to someone else. As far as the hotel is concerned, he left. But you said they claim he never checked in." "To me, yes. To the police, they have a record of him checking in and checking out. The records are contradictory, which suggests someone is manipulating the system. Why would they tell the police he checked out but tell you he never checked in?" "Because the police could subpoena records, so the hotel had to acknowledge him to the police. But to me, a private investigator with no legal power, they can deny everything." Maria felt overwhelmed. This was bigger than she'd thought, more complicated, more deliberate. "I can't help you," she said finally. "I'm sorry, I have a daughter. I can't risk this job." Jennifer nodded slowly. "I understand. But if you change your mind, if you remember anything else, if you find anything, please call me." She got out of the car. Maria sat there for a long moment. Then she drove home. She tried to sleep, couldn't. Her mind wouldn't stop. A man was missing, possibly dead, and the hotel had erased him. made him disappear from their records except for the bare minimum they had to show police. That meant the hotel knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't panic or confusion. This was calculated, practiced. How many times had they done this? How many other people had disappeared inside that building and been erased? Maria went to work that night, Tuesday, exactly 1 week after she'd found room 2317. She was exhausted, hadn't slept more than a few hours in days. She was assigned to the 20th floor. She worked mechanically, cleaned rooms, changed sheets, tried not to think. Around 2 a.m., she was in the service hallway getting fresh towels from the linen closet when she overheard 2 security officers talking. They didn't see her. She was behind the door of the closet. "Did they find the footage?" one asked. "No, it's gone. Whole system crashed that night. Lost about 6 hours of recording." Convenient. Yeah, real convenient. But that's the story. System malfunction, nothing suspicious. What about the housekeeper, the one who found it? She's being quiet. Gloria's keeping an eye on her. If she stays quiet, no problem. If she doesn't, we handle it. How? However we need to. This place has lawyers, has money, has connections. One housekeeper isn't a problem. They walked away. Maria stood in the linen closet, frozen. They were talking about her, watching her, and they'd just casually talked about handling her if she became a problem. She felt sick, felt terrified. This was real. This was dangerous. She finished her shift in a fog, clocked out. Instead of going to her car, she walked across the street to the Starbucks. At 7:15 a.m., it was starting to get busy with early commuters. She sat down with a coffee and pulled out Jennifer Ross's business card. Dialed the number. Jennifer answered on the second ring. "Hello? It's Maria. I need to talk to you." Now. They met in a parking lot away from the hotel. Maria told her what she'd overheard. The missing security footage, the security officers watching her, the threat. Jennifer's expression darkened. "They're destroying evidence, and they're threatening you. What do I do?" "You could go to the police, file a report about the threat." "And say what?" "I overheard 2 security guards talking. I have no proof." "You're right. Without recording or witnesses, it's your word against theirs." Jennifer thought for a moment. "I'm going to be honest with you. You're in danger. Not immediate physical danger, probably. But they could fire you. They could blacklist you in the industry. They could make it very hard for you to work in Vegas. So I should quit. Maybe. Or maybe you should document everything you can. Every threat, every strange thing, every conversation. Build your own evidence. Protect yourself." How does that help the missing man? It doesn't, not directly, but it helps establish a pattern. And if enough people come forward, if enough evidence accumulates, maybe eventually someone will investigate properly. Eventually, but not now. No, not now. I'm sorry. Maria drove home, went through the motions of her day, picked up her daughter from school, made dinner, helped with homework, normal life. But nothing felt normal anymore. She kept thinking about that room, about the man who'd been there, about his wife waiting for him to come home, about his children wondering where their father was. And she thought about the hotel, the massive machine designed to extract money from tourists, the thousands of employees, the billions of dollars, the power and influence. One person couldn't fight that. One housekeeper couldn't expose them. She was nothing to them, replaceable, insignificant. She worked the next night, and the night after that, stayed quiet, kept her head down, did her job. Gloria treated her normally. The security officers ignored her. Everything went back to routine. Except Maria couldn't forget. Couldn't unsee what she'd seen. Couldn't unknow what she knew. 2 weeks after finding the room, she was working the graveyard shift when she had to go to the laundry room in the basement. The industrial laundry room where all the hotel's linens were processed. She'd been down there before. It was a massive operation. Giant commercial washers and dryers running 24 hours a day. Mountains of dirty sheets and towels. Teams of workers sorting and processing. She was dropping off a bag of linens when she saw something. In the corner of the room, there was a separate area, marked biohazard. She'd never paid attention to it before. But now she was curious. She walked over. There were several bags marked with red biohazard symbols. standard procedure for linens that were contaminated with bodily fluids. One of the laundry workers saw her looking, an older man named Ramon. "Don't worry about those," he said. "Special handling. We don't process those here." "Where do they go?" "Contractor picks them up. Medical waste disposal company. They incinerate them." "How often?" "Whenever we call them, usually once a week or so. Sometimes more if we have a bad week." "A bad week?" "Yeah, you know, guests who get sick, guests who bleed, guests who have accidents. Happens more than you'd think." Maria looked at the bags. "When was the last pickup?" "Last Tuesday morning, I think." "Why?" "Last Tuesday morning, the day after she'd found room 2317, the day those men in the unmarked van were loading a laundry cart." "Just curious," Maria said. She left the laundry room, her mind racing. The linens from that room had been removed, marked as biohazard, and picked up by a contractor for incineration, destroyed. All evidence destroyed. She wanted to scream, wanted to cry, wanted to do something, but there was nothing she could do. The linens were gone. The security footage was gone. The hotel's records had been manipulated. The room had been professionally cleaned. Every piece of evidence had been systematically erased, and she was the only person who remembered. The only person who knew something terrible had happened in room 2317. She called Jennifer Ross the next day, told her about the biohazard bags, the incineration. Jennifer was quiet for a long time. That's it then. No physical evidence left, no way to prove anything happened. So the case is dead. Unless we find the body, or unless someone confesses, or unless new evidence appears, yes, the case is dead. What about his family? I'll keep investigating, I'll keep pushing. But without evidence, there's nothing I can do. The police won't reopen it. The hotel won't cooperate. I'm hitting walls everywhere. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. You tried. You reported what you saw. The system failed. That's not on you. But it felt like it was on Maria. Felt like she should have done more. Should have taken better pictures. Should have kept a piece of evidence. Should have been smarter. But she hadn't known. Hadn't realized what she was seeing until it was too late. She kept working at the hotel, kept doing her job. Tried to forget, but she couldn't forget. Every time she walked past the 23rd floor. Every time she used her keycard. Every time she smelled cleaning chemicals. She thought about that room. And she thought about the man who'd died there, who'd bled there, who'd been erased like he never existed. 3 months passed. December, January, February. Maria kept working, kept quiet, tried to move on. Then one night in late February, she was assigned to the 23rd floor. First time since the incident. She tried to request a different floor. Gloria said no, said it was time she got over whatever she was scared of. Maria worked the floor, avoided room 2317 as long as she could. But eventually she had to clean it. It was on her assignment list. Guest checkout needed full cleaning. She stood outside the door for a full minute before she could make herself open it. When she finally went in, the room looked normal. Lived in. A guest had stayed there, had used the bed, had showered, had left the room messy like guests do. Maria cleaned it, changed the sheets, cleaned the bathroom, vacuumed, dusted. It was just a room. Just another room in a hotel full of rooms. But when she was finishing up, she found something, wedged behind the nightstand, a small piece of metal. She pulled it out. It was a cufflink, silver, with initials engraved on it. J.M. She stared at it. The missing man's name had been Jonathan Mitchell. J.M. This could be his, could be from that night, could have fallen and been missed during the cleaning. Or it could be from the recent guest, could be a coincidence, she didn't know. Had no way to know. She put the cufflink in her pocket. Finished cleaning the room. Left. She took the cufflink home, looked at it, tried to decide what to do. If she gave it to Jennifer Ross, would it help? Would it prove anything? Or was it just a cufflink that could have come from anyone? She called Jennifer, told her what she'd found. Jennifer asked her to send a picture. Maria did. Jennifer called back 20 minutes later. His wife recognized it. It's his. She bought him those cufflinks for their anniversary 2 years ago. Maria felt cold. So he was there, in that room. Yes, but a cufflink isn't proof of a crime. It's just proof he was there, which the hotel already admitted to police. They said he checked in. This doesn't change anything, so it doesn't matter. It matters to his wife. It's the only piece of him she has. Can I give her your address? She wants to thank you. No, I can't. I can't be involved. I understand. Jennifer arranged to meet Maria, collected the cufflink, gave it to the wife. Maria never met her, never spoke to her, never saw the grief that woman was carrying. But she thought about her every day, thought about a woman who would never know what happened to her husband, who would spend the rest of her life wondering, who would never have a grave to visit or a place to mourn, because the hotel had erased him, had cleaned up his blood and incinerated his linens and manipulated their records and destroyed the security footage, had made him disappear as efficiently as a magic trick, and gotten away with it. Maria still works at that hotel, still cleans rooms, still walks past room 2317 regularly. The hotel is still open, still bringing in millions of dollars every day, still advertising itself as a luxury destination, still promising guests an unforgettable experience. And somewhere in their records, buried deep in whatever system they use to track these things, there's probably a notation, a quiet acknowledgement that something happened, that there was an incident, that it was handled, but publicly, officially, nothing happened. Room 2317 is just another room, gets rented out every night, gets cleaned every day. No different from any other room in the building, except Maria knows different. Maria remembers. She remembers the smell, the pink water, the wet floor, the missing towels, the stains on the sheets. She remembers how quickly it was all erased, how thoroughly, how professionally. And she wonders how many other rooms in that hotel have the same hidden history, how many other incidents have been cleaned up and forgotten, how many other people have disappeared inside those walls and been erased from existence. She wonders if it happens in other hotels too, other casinos, other buildings on the Strip. She wonders how many families are still waiting for someone to come home who never will. Because Vegas is good at making things disappear. Money disappears, time disappears, inhibitions disappear, reality disappears. And sometimes people disappear into rooms that are cleaned before police arrive, into systems that are manipulated, into buildings with cameras that somehow don't record what matters. Maria can't sleep well anymore, has nightmares, sees that pink water, smells that metallic smell, but she goes to work, cleans rooms, keeps quiet, because she has a daughter to support, bills to pay, a life to live, and because she knows now what happens to people who ask too many questions, who push too hard, who try to fight machines that are bigger and more powerful than any individual. They get erased too. Maybe not in the same way, but erased nonetheless. So she stays silent, carries the weight of what she knows, and tries to forget. But she can't forget, will never forget, because she knows the truth, knows what Las Vegas really is beneath the lights and the shows and the promises, a place where anything can disappear, where evidence can be destroyed in hours, where powerful institutions protect themselves at any cost, where a man can bleed to death in a hotel room and be erased from reality before the sun comes up, and where a housekeeper who smelled the blood and saw the aftermath can't do anything but remember and wonder and carry the guilt of silence. Room 2317 is occupied tonight. Someone is sleeping there right now, probably having a good time in Vegas, probably gambling and drinking and living it up. They have no idea what happened in that room, what was cleaned from those floors, what was washed down that drain. The hotel will never tell them, will never acknowledge it. We'll rent that room every night for years to come, and Maria will keep cleaning it. Keep changing those sheets, keep scrubbing that bathroom, keep remembering what nobody else wants to remember. That in Las Vegas, in a building full of cameras and security and thousands of employees, a person can disappear and leave no trace. All it takes is power and money and the willingness to erase the truth. And in this city, all three are in abundant supply. Subscribe for more true stories like this.